Yeah, someone do it.
Ready.
Welcome to Bigmantingz, where we chop it up about big man things.
Talking the things. What are we talking about?
Molly-Mae.
Molly-Mae, yeah.
Ex Love Island. She's obviously found notoriety. What's the word? Notoriety? No,
Yeah.
Some found fame.
Some kind of fame.
A claim
She's
to
big-
fame is
yeah.
through Love Island.
She's a big word
Yeah,
there, you know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ex Love Island.
She's obtained notoriety.
Yeah, there you go. She is. Who's her boyfriend?
Tommy Fury. I think
Tommy
she broke
Fury.
up now, but yeah, they was together.
No.
Are they still together?
Fury, is that
His little brother.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
He's gonna
So
knock out Logan Paul.
She's known in that aspect. She's got obviously in the news. Go on, what is it?
Yeah, she's basically, I think she's the ambassador for, what brand is it now, Mizzle?
I don't know.
Oh, Pretty Little Thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think she's got her own little boutique going on. She sells her own stuff.
She's
the ambassador for
successful.
Pretty Little
Since
Thing.
she's left Love Island, she's successful.
Yeah, she's become an entrepreneur. She's making moves. You know, she grew up, I think, somewhere, you know, of a decent standard. Both parents were police officers, middle class. Obviously, she goes on Love Island and kind of blows up on that. Did she win? Nah, she didn't win it that year, did she?
I can't remember if it did.
But anyway, from there, she's pushed on.
They became the biggest couple out of there, though.
Yeah.
To be fair though, before then, she was doing a lot of YouTube stuff. She was known for some type of area in YouTube. She had a lot of subscribers on her channel, or whatever. So she was
Yeah.
Was she
known.
doing motivational stuff? Or?
I think she was. I don't know. I think she was doing all the influence type of stuff, like changing
Makeup,
clothes and doing clothes reveals and all that type of
that
stuff.
rubbish.
Vlogging or whatever. She was known stuff. She was a nobody.
She had a little
nobody.
following.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, Dexter, I'll cut you.
Yeah, just so basically, obviously, she's trending right now on social media for basically saying a power phrase. Everyone's got the same 24 hours.
We'll give a bit of background on her in regards to where she comes from for the audience, because
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously she comes from a decent background. Obviously, middle class. Like I said, her both parents are police officers. I think she describes the fact that, you know, she had a decent upbringing, and obviously she's a white female. Yeah,
I would say so.
Probably, yeah.
From that,
Without speculating.
yeah, without speculating.
But yeah, I think ultimately she has all of the benefits of being a white female in the UK, and you know, she's basically saying that she's reached a certain position in her
working hard
in her career where she says she's grafted, and I believe she's grafted quite hard to get where she is. And I think she's probably a millionaire by now. I think
so.
Quite
I think
easily a millionaire.
I don't doubt that, but I still think she's full of shit.
But yeah, so anyway, she's on an interview with Stephen Bartlett, who is a very successful
Shout out to
individual.
Stephen Bartlett. We
Shout
was
out to
talking about
Stephen
him.
Bartlett.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said he's on Prentice.
Dragon's
Dragon's
Den.
Den. Yeah, shout out to Stephen Bartlett.
And I think Mizu, you was talking about there was talking in respect of homelessness,
I
but
think
also
so.
the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, everyone has the same 24 hours as Beyonce. Beyonce has the same 24 hours as everybody else. And if you really want to be successful, then, you know, you go for it, you work hard. And that was
You're
me
given one
paraphrasing. That's
life, and it's
basically
down
what
to
she was
you
saying.
what you do with it. Like, you can literally go in any direction. And when I've spoken about that before in the past, I have been slammed a little bit with people saying, you know, like, it's easy for you to say that, you know, you've grown up and you've not grown up in poverty, you've not grown up, you know, with major money struggles. So for you to sit there and say that we all have the same 24 hours in a day is not correct. And I'm like, but technically what I'm saying is correct. We do. So I understand that obviously we all have different backgrounds and we're all raised in different ways and we do have different financial situations. But I think if you want something enough, you can achieve it. And it just depends to what lengths you want to go to get where you want to be in the future. And I'll go to any lengths. Like, I've worked my absolute arse off to get where I am now.
And she said in the interview that she's previously got backlash for it. And now everyone's just, me personally, I don't see why it's a big topic, but it's trending quite hard. Maybe because of the fact that she's just an influencer and people like to, you know, talk and stuff. But
No,
No,
because
Well,
not
let-
everybody gets the same opportunity
Hold
based
on,
on the
hold on,
environment.
hold on.
So
Let me finish.
24 hours,
Alright,
yes,
go on.
but
let me, me personally, I'm not taking it any deeper than what she said, which means everyone gets the same 24 hours. We all do get the same 24 hours.
you're taking
Now,
it
if you want
literally.
to, if you want to go into the stories
She
and
did say in the thingy,
and the hands that
technically.
he doubts, then that's a whole different conversation for me. But the fact of the matter is that yes,
Do you
we
not
do
hear
get all the same 24 hours. We do get that.
Technically, you do.
I'm
You all
taking
get
it
24 hours.
But we're not,
as that.
we're not supposed to take it literally. So if
Why
you're
not?
looking at that and
But
taking
she
that
said,
literally,
and I've changed my position. If you, when me and Dex did speak about this earlier, I was more
where you was. But when I've just heard it back then, right, she says technically we all have the same 24 hours, and that statement alone, isolated.
I'll argue with it.
But that's a literal statement, and she's not making a literal statement. She's making a technical statement. She's made that statement. Technically speaking,
You know, I think
we have 24 hours. You're looking at that literally as a literal 24.
True.
She's not asking you to look at it like that. She's asking you to look at it from a technical side of
but
things.
I
So
think-
why are you looking at it literally? I don't get it.
you know, I think the problem
That's
is,
why she's full.
you
Because
know,
we don't.
you know, I think the problem is without.
No,
I
I
still
kind of disagree. Go on.
You can disagree with me all you want, but
I'll let you
come
chime
with
in
more
a
than
second.
I
But
disagree.
I was going to say this before
next.
just to give a bit of perspective. So I'll let you chime in a second. But I think, you know what I think the problem is? I think she's... A lot of influencers do this. They not to say that she hasn't grafted, so let's take that scenario out of it. But a lot of influencers, they say a lot of things, and then they get to a stage where they're then talking about, oh, all you need to do is work hard, blah, blah, blah. Try and get for this motivational speaker moment. A lot of them do it. I'm not saying that's what she was doing, but there's that side of things. Secondly, in the same breath that she was saying, oh, I understand that people have blah, 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 you know, different backgrounds, she then just dismissed it in the same breath. And I think that's where people had a lot of gripe with what she was actually saying, because it was almost
acknowledge it and dismiss it in the same breath.
It was almost like, oh yeah, but that's just a minor thing. That's,
You know,
that's
you should be able to
that's how a
overcome
lot
that.
of people
Some
have-
people
yeah,
can't
have
overcome them
taken it.
environmental barriers.
All right, but okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
That
She's
is-
fully.
All right, go on.
No, here you've just made me think. About
Okay,
it. Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
but okay. So me, I'm still taking it literally in the sense that they're talking about getting to a certain goal from a career point of view or financial. That's what they're talking about. It's not about getting to a personal goal. Now, there's many examples across the world in this day and age where, regardless of the hand you're dealt, you still have the possibility of being successful in a career or whether you want to earn a lot of money. Wait, hear me out. There's many examples. Now, I draw back to, there's two books that I've read, but one of the books I'm reading right now by David Schwartz talks about, it's the magic of thinking big.
Okay.
And he basically states that a lot of people that are what you would call unsuccessful have a negative mind frame and a mindset. Yeah. Or a lot of people that make it to their goals, whatever their goals might be, have the same cheat code, which is to think positively and to think big.
Okay.
Yeah. Another book I read was this dip. Is about, you know, for example, when you start something new, you get a new feeling, that fresh feeling. Yeah. When the hard work hits, a lot of people don't have that.
They bail.
Yeah, it's the dip. It's about getting over it. So all of these people that are looking at that in a negative limelight, I believe to somewhat degree, those are the same people that are in that same mindset of always thinking negatively. Instead of looking at that and thinking it as a positive mindset and saying, you know something, yes, I do. Everyone's different. Everyone's life is different. Wait. Everyone's background's different. Everyone's life's different. But the fundamental fact is still, we all have the same 24 hours.
Yes.
And my struggle to get to where, for example, if I wanted to get to where Molly is, yeah, I might have to work 10 times harder than her.
You'd have to work 50,000 times harder.
But the reality of it is,
Still 24 hours.
it's still the same 24 hours.
It is still 24 hours, but how many of those 24 hours will you have to sleep?
I call it. I call it.
That's irrelevant. To me, it's irrelevant because nobody's life is the same. So you shouldn't even think like that. Yeah. Nobody's life is the same.
Of course not.
So no one's goals are the same. No one's objectives are the same. So for you to look at that statement and go into your own little, it's written from her.
It doesn't. Because what you're not factoring in is the level of ignorance she's got to the level of ignorance she's shown in terms of the barriers that other people have to face in order to achieve within that 24 hours. She doesn't have to achieve. She doesn't have to fight through this and that. Her starting point might be on step 10 when my starting point might be on -4. So, within the 24 hours, yes, we both have 24 hours to achieve. So, but Mizo, you can say so, but it's based on the environment and the barriers.
But, she's not saying you can get there in the same time. She's saying you can get there. So whether you start on -4, yeah, right. Let's try and put this into an example. Right, we'll use some probably American people. Right, let's say Biggie Smalls. he started on a different level than Madonna. Madonna, because she's a white woman in America, would have started on wrong 10. He started on -3 because he's hip hop as well, right? But he still got to a level, right? Even though he had different obstacles, he had to deal with man from his own ends hating him, other rappers hating him,
Trying
and
to get
all this
signed.
stuff, and blah blah blah, and being a black man in this industry.
And then
that's
he
run
got
by
killed
white
for it.
men. Right, but he still got to a level of success, didn't he?
Then he got killed for it.
You should have said something else.
He got killed for it.
You should have said somebody
No,
else.
no,
No, but he still reached a level of success.
Yeah, he still
Yeah,
reached a level of success.
And
before
if he
he
was
died.
alive, he would have.
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I haven't dismissed what she said in terms of 24 hours, the
Of
literal
course.
statement.
Yeah, of course.
I've dismissed her lack of understanding as to the barriers that people face, which make it more difficult for people to get out of their situation.
That's not the
and
point she was
progress.
trying
You
to
know-
prove.
I know.
But that's the point I'm looking at it from.
Okay, so
I
you
don't-
know,
I don't
Shemaiah-
give a shit whether or not that's
Wait,
the
wait,
point
wait, wait,
that she was trying to
wait,
prove.
But
That's
thi-
the point I'm
wait,
looking
this
at it from.
You know what this reminds me of?
Go on.
The Bible. Because you have one Bible that says one thing, but you've got 100 different denominations. Because people look at that word and look at it and translate into two totally different things. So you've looked at and listened to what she said and took it totally different to what I've took it.
I've looked
Yeah?
at that's
Based
why,
on-
hold on. Remember,
based
I asked
on-
remember before you jumped down my fault. Remember, I asked the question to you for you to contextualize and paint her background for me, so I can see the type of upbringing that she would have been given.
You
And
don't know
yeah,
it.
I asked him for that. It was me
Yeah,
who
but you
asked
don't
for
know
that.
it.
And before,
No,
I,
he's saying
I
that.
asked. Sakes, listen. Sakes, look.
Okay, I want to let you speak, and then I want to prove you wrong.
wrong is.
You know.
Go on.
You don't need
Well,
So
to.
ultimately, I asked you those
Yeah,
questions,
yeah.
so I didn't jump to conclusions and come from an angle. I wanted to understand her upbringing and the barriers she would have had to have faced. So I can see that the barriers she would have had to have faced would have been totally different to some of the barriers other people would have had to face who were not able to overcome those barriers.
Yeah.
That's all
Okay,
I'm
so
saying.
and what I'm saying to you is,
So it's not a right or
So-
wrong
so-
thing. She
yeah.
didn't have to do. She probably didn't have to deal with man's walking around probably trying to ching her, but yet still a next man in a certain area, he'll have to walk around considering that as well as him trying to stay focused and achieving his goals.
Or
Same-
abuse
okay,
at home.
same
There you
24
go,
hours.
you know what I'm saying?
Same 24 hours though.
but what I'm saying to
Within the
you,
same 24
but what
hours.
I'm saying to
Hold
you,
on,
mate,
hold on,
wait,
Dex,
wait,
Dex,
wait, wait,
Dex.
wait.
I
Let me
just
say-
wanna- I
let me
just
say
wanna
my
be
point,
talked to
let me
him.
say my point, let me say my point.
Go on.
I didn't wanna
So
talk
what?
to this
So why can you not look at that statement and be motivated by it rather than the same book I mentioned? There's a thing called excusivitis. It's a disease, yeah, because people make
You're
excuses.
saying you got a scootivitis.
No, I haven't.
No,
It's just
I'm not
because
saying
man
you
don't understand
I'm not saying you
adverse
personally.
childhood experiences which affect you mental health later on in life. That's the topic I've been trying to bring to this platform for weeks, but man don't want to chop it up about that. And then man's want to use it and say it's an excuse. It's not. It's an actual real thing. Adverse childhood experiences which cause trauma. That's a fact.
Yes, I get
Hold on,
that, but
go on.
are you gonna let that trauma or whatever you're facing rob you of your success?
It's not
Look,
about letting it affect.
it's not
about letting it
allowing
affect you.
What do you mean
It's
it's not
can
allowing-
you overcome the trauma?
Okay.
But
It
that's
depends-
your
it depends on
battle.
exactly. So some people are
Hold
gonna
on.
be able to overcome it, and some ain't
Why
because they're
won't-
not built for it.
She's not saying-
Because of the area that you come from, because of what you've had to go through, because of the trauma.
Bro, you're
how
still
it's
not-
affected
I
you.
understand.
You're still
I
not
understand.
getting
I
it.
understand. But I
You're
see
still-
what you're saying.
You're
You're
still
saying
not getting it.
you still have.
regardless of the cards you would doubt.
You
should-
still got 24
You
hours.
have
I've already
to
said that.
overcome that.
You don't have to because not everybody does overcome it.
If you're
the reality
successful,
is
you do have to,
no,
it's just-
the reality of the
choose
situation
not to.
is that everybody doesn't overcome it.
Yeah,
That's the
that's right,
reality.
yeah.
Why?
So don't sit there and say
Why?
you have
Why?
to overcome it because
Why?
the reality of the situation is
Not
some
everybody
people
have to.
don't.
Not everybody can't.
I'm not. I'm, okay,
No,
I'm
no
not
one
saying
can.
that. I'm
No
not
one
saying
can.
that no
Yeah,
one. I'm not saying that people don't. That there are people out there that don't overcome.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make things any better. Ideally, they would want to overcome it, would they not?
Well, you'd be surprised.
So
Some people don't want to
the
overcome it.
bottom line,
Let me
going back
just-
to the point.
And that's
The
where
bottom-
there would be, you could use the
yeah.
phrase excutivitis. That's when they're using it
But-
to
but
make
the-
you know what I'm saying?
But the bottom line
Some
is
people
this.
just
The
can't.
bottom
I
line
can't
is
get
this.
out of my bed. I can't do it.
She's pertaining to success, and for me, I took it as a motivation statement rather than anything else. People can take it and say, "Wow, you know what do you know? You're a white woman in the UK." You can take it as
I want to come
at
after me. So
I looked at it, and like I said, I relate to the Bible because you can look at one text and people interpret it two totally different things. Get me?
There's
We're
a go.
individuals.
Hold on.
We're
Hold on.
Mainly.
Well, she's being dragged
Hold
for
on,
saying this.
hold on.
I'm trying to
Let me
say
just
to
say
you.
what
Listen,
you
guys,
say.
I'm coming there. I'm coming
Okay,
there.
I got
mainly.
something after you. Go on.
Mate, obviously, you were saying you were trying to get the background of it, yeah, right? From what Dex said, Dex doesn't know her bio. Hold on. You're saying, right? You asked them questions so you could
Dex
see what
answered the
struggle.
question.
Hold on.
Did Dex answer the question though?
Yeah, but
To
let
his
him land,
knowledge?
let him
Yeah,
land.
so that's I asked him from his knowledge. I didn't ask
But
him from
I'm
a
saying,
fucking
but
bibliography
you can't. You've then said,
or a
yeah.
biography.
I wanted to say it, so I know what kind of struggles
Yeah,
through.
a little bit of context helps you to form a better opinion. I had no context prior to Dex telling me that. I didn't know her parents were police officers. I didn't know that she even
My missus
grew
told
up
me
in
that.
a 2.4 family. I know that now.
Yeah.
It still helps me to form an opinion, Mizzle.
It doesn't
No matter
give you-
how little information he gave me, it still helps me.
It doesn't
form
give you
my
the full
opinion.
the full aspect of her
Let
upbringing.
me
Try
say
it
this
out.
because Dexter used the Bible as an analogy. This is where I have a problem with them constantly pushing slavery and making these movies over and over again and telling us how black people are this and black.
You were a slave.
There's more to it.
No, it's because it keeps you in a place
Yep.
of victimhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also allows you to make excuses for failure.
Excuse artists, yeah.
That's why I have a problem with it now. Before I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's this man's fault and it's that race's fault. Now I'm like, well, hold on a minute. What would my ancestors rather me do now?
Okay.
They would rather me achieve so they can at least from their grave look up and go, my sacrifice wasn't in vain.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
get
That's
that.
what they would rather me do instead of saying, oh, the white man this or you know what I mean, and not achieve anything, and then the generation coming after me is in the same, if not a worse position.
I hear you.
So I understand what Dexter said.
I get that, and I'm
I-
not dismissing that.
I
And
hear ya.
mine isn't linked back to. Mine ain't linked to race. It's not linked to anything.
No, I'm not
it's
saying
linked
it's-
to the
talking about-
experiences
No.
of that. No, what I'm saying is, let me land. Just
Alright.
you
Alright.
landed.
Alright.
I'm saying it's not about race, anything other than what you've experienced as an individual within the environment that you're in, because it shapes and molds you. Man can sit here and say it don't shape you. Well, it does, because if you go up in a perfect setting, you've got you get a better chance at being successful based on having the support mechanisms from that environment. Now, if you're in a single parent family, mom's got 6-7 kids, and it's her one, you're not gonna get as much opportunities as my girl who's got the family that's got one kid and they're living in an affluent part of society and they got access to different things. It's a fact.
I
think we all
understand.
agree
I
that. We
understand
all
that.
agree
But
with
I
that.
think
That was my whole point.
I understand
I
that, but I think the message now needs to change.
What?
We need to stop saying
Oh,
you are not
the-
going to
yeah.
get this and not
Because
gonna,
you
and
come from this.
come from that and
No,
say,
no,
you
no,
know
no,
what?
no,
I
I'm
think
not.
that's what we're
No,
saying.
You've missed my point then. If you're saying
I
that, then you've missed my point.
haven't. What
You
I'm just
missed
trying
her
to
point.
highlight
No,
is the
he's
fact
missed
that
my point.
I haven't.
We're talking about Molly.
I
You
haven't-
missed her point.
Let me
That's
land.
what I'm
Let me
saying.
land. Let me land.
He's talking
Let
about
me land.
Let me land, bro.
Signal the plane, bro.
All I'm saying is, while I understand everything you've said, and I agree to a certain extent, because look, we all come from difficult backgrounds, difficult positions, etc. We grew up in difficult environments. What we have to start pushing out there is, you know what? Regardless of that, you can still
do-
I
achieve. Bro.
got
You can still achieve
something
with
here.
the right support mechanism.
I got
I'm not
Why do you
disputing that.
have? Why do you have?
I've got
Because
hold
you
on,
still
let me
need
say-
to overcome the
let me say
trauma of fucking ace
But that's
to
That's
achieve.
your business to do.
Yeah.
Let me say
What
this.
did you just say?
So there's a post,
What did I
right?
just say?
Hold
There's
on,
a-
mainly.
With the right support mechanism.
Oh,
Yo,
God.
it's not fucking Maney.
Listen,
It's
listen.
yo. Listen
Bro,
to what I'm blood
listen.
clot saying, innit?
Listen.
So what? One man talks, and I must shut my blood clot
Nah,
mouth
listen.
because one man talks. I've been silent for the whole Ross thing, and now I'm talking. Man's want to say, "Oh, yo, Maney, cues like I'm talking."
Listen.
Cues.
Listen.
Why
So
I feel like you're directing it at me.
so-
If you feel like I'm directing it at you, I'm fucking directing it at you. Isn't
not
it?
directing at me. So there's a post, right? There's a post on Instagram. I don't know whose page it is per se. It's not like a known person, but someone put it up on their status, and there's a picture. It's this very animated picture. I'll show it to you, man, so you can put it up. There's a few slides on it, right? That's how it starts. Show it to him, and I'll read.
Let
the
me see
captions.
off the back of that because
Yeah,
I seen another post.
I'll read the captions off the back of it. Show it to them, man, so they know what I'm saying. Yeah. Don't read the caption. Just look at the picture.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's Molly-Mae, right? Have a look, and I'll read the captions, man, because I'm on your side, yeah. So don't dismiss what I'm saying, yeah.
Whatever, innit?
Yeah.
I'm looking.
Okay, so
Have you read the caption?
don't read
You
the
don't need
caption.
to
I'm
read- you
going to
don't
read
need
them
to-
out. I'm going to read them out because there's a few slides. So the caption says it's Molly-Mae in a boat, right? And there's a person in the water. Then a person in the water, no boat, is saying help. Okay. Molly-Mae's caption: "Sorry, hon, you just need to work harder to get yourself out of there and back onto land." Right. There's the next slide. I'm working super hard at rowing this boat. If you put your mind to it, you could do the same. We all have the same 24 hours, hon. But you have more resources and privileges. You're making excuses now. Person drowns. So that is a very, very high level. That is a very, very high level of, I think, where the insensitivity is. And I think that's where the issue is.
That's what he's trying to say.
I think that I don't know what May was trying to say.
Whenever I start
hear
getting
you
emotional,
say-
man's always try overreact and say that I'm overreacting. Like, man's never fucking listen and only want to push their own blood clot agenda. That's all it is.
I don't have an agenda
All
to
it is.
push.
I'm not talking about you,
I'm
I'm meant
just
to talk
saying.
about Mizzle.
Every
But-
week without fail.
I know.
Listen.
But I know.
Because he's always trying to say, look, no, I'm going to beat you. It's not a case of beating me. Listen to what I'm saying, isn't it? It's about the fucking aces. How many weeks have we done? Have we said, yo, send a topic? I've sent aces 5 times, and I thought, I wonder when these fuckers are going to want to talk about aces. Don't want to talk about it. You'd rather talk about shit, that shit, and ignore the fact that people are out there genuinely with trauma who can't overcome it.
It's true.
And I would like to address the fact that, there's support mechanisms out there to help people with fucking trauma. You don't want to talk about bull. And then when I'm mentioning aces, because you're fucking ignorant to the aces, you act like they don't fucking exist. I fucking studied them. They're fucking out there, bro.
They're out
I think you weren't directing it to me
Bro,
because
I'm directing to whoever wants.
Whoever the book fits.
allow me to speak.
I think I was just gonna say.
Hold on. Let's allow Mizzle to respond.
Fucking joking.
Because I felt like a lot of that was just in general. So I'm not going to take offense.
I think it was more in general.
Yeah, I'm not going to take
I think
offense.
it
I don't
was-
take offense in
you
anything
threw it
Manny
out
says
there too.
anyway.
I was just gonna say, to surmise my point on it. I don't think.
Your feedback. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so my still view is, you guys, it's Molly-Mae. You got to say in 24 hours, get the fuck out your bed, yeah?
That's your point.
Just ignored the fact.
So this is what I'm saying.
It's that level of ignorance that's frustrating.
I did that one on purpose. But
Yeah, you see what I'm
listen.
That's what I'm saying.
But listen, mainly, I'm
Trying to have a serious conversation.
mainly. That's
Stuff
true.
out, bro.
Right, but listen, yeah, right. And Dex, I did say to you, what did I say to you?
I understand. Start. I understand it all, fam.
Starter.
Yeah,
No.
Start. I will understand. Start. I will understand as well.
It's
Start.
a
I will
shout out to the
understand
football
it.
group.
Shout out to Starter.
Each
Shout out to Starter.
and every time.
Let me say my point so we can do this.
Now make him finish.
Right. Dex, I said to you earlier when we had discussion earlier, right, the circumstances taken into consideration. I still believe that. But what she was saying is,
He's not asking you to address that, man. He's
Hold
talking
on.
about.
See what I'm saying? This is what
on.
is so frustrating about this brother.
But the
He asked me to
circumstances-
address
hold on.
something, and he addresses
Address-
something else. Like, bro, address me.
address you for about
Bro,
the
what I just
aces.
said about the aces, I've mentioned it several times. Mans don't want to talk about real topics. Mans want to talk about this is linked to aces, and I'm trying to bring in a more deeper topic. And mans don't want to see the kind of depth I'm trying to get to. Instead, they want to sit there and say, "Oh no, I can't see it. I can't see it. It don't exist." All right, fine, it don't exist.
No one said any of them words.
Aces do not exist. If you've got trauma, fucking lying. Basically, that's what we're saying.
That's what you're saying.
That's what Miz was saying. Because I already said aces exist. So
And I said it didn't.
Yeah, well, your attitude was pretty much like they don't exist. Like you, regardless of the trauma that you faced, you can still get up off your ass and do shit. The trauma that certain people have faced, they can't even fucking open their eyes in the morning to get out of the bed, to get up and motivate themselves to do that. So how do you get that person to the stage where Molly's talking, that you can motivate yourself, pep talk,
and you've got the
shit?
same 24
How do you
hours.
tell that person that?
Example of the types of trauma that you're talking about.
Yo, seeing domestic violence, sexual abuse, all them sorts of things, seeing them as a child, they're going to affect your outlook on life, which means that the opportunities that person might get over there, because they've never seen those things,
I was gonna
and they've
say.
had an easier life, you're now having to live that. So how do you support that person in motivating themselves out of their bed to become successful? Because that's what people want to know. Because that's who might be listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been through that.
Yeah,
But don't belittle their sufferings and say that because you've been through that, no, you're just automatically supposed to pep yourself up, because it doesn't work like that.
I get that. So, all right, I'm on both. Okay, in regards to that specific topic, yeah, I'm on two sides of the coin. Yeah, there's one aspect of it where there's many of people that have been what we call successful in this life, that have gone through all of those issues.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
they've gone through
100%.
They have,
Yeah. So for one, there's an example for them to lean upon to say, boom, I don't know, Whitney got. Well, I'm not saying Whitney.
Michael Jackson.
Just there's a lot of examples.
All dead people.
Great.
But there's a
Biggie
there's a
Smalls,
ton of.
Whitney Houston,
Every
Michael Jackson.
example is
All
dead.
the
But let's not be naive to think
They were highly successful.
that there's many
more.
My man Stephen Barrett that done that interview talked about how homeless he was and how he had nothing, absolutely nothing, and he created a £300 million business. Yeah. So there is examples of that, but the other aspect of it is this. I still stand by the fact that, and although I sympathize with those people, a lot of people in this world, more often than not, go through traumas. Millions, if not billions, of people go through traumas.
Everybody goes through trauma.
I says a lot of people.
Everybody
Everybody
and I
goes
can
through some
correct
type
you
of
and say,
trauma.
everybody goes
Molly-Mae
through
went
trauma.
through trauma then.
Everybody goes through trauma.
So did Molly.
But it's
But
I'm
it's the-
asking you, how do you, when the trauma is so great,
It's the level
how
of it.
do you motivate somebody who is in that mire to get out of that mire and onto motivation and to their goal?
I think
It's
they
the
have to.
level
question
of
I'm
it.
asking.
You can't motivate them. They have to motivate
You have to motivate
themselves.
yourself. You can support
Yeah.
motivation,
Yeah.
and unless obviously it depends on the trauma. It depends on what the support groups you're talking about.
I guess.
And I
Like,
think
it depends on whether someone needs counselling, whether someone needs, a coach, a life coach, whether
guess.
someone needs.
maybe that's what.
But I
Molly-
think that's
maybe that's what
very-
Molly's trying to say.
I think, but that's what I think. The
That's what she's trying to say
insensitivity with their
without
delivery.
saying it.
That's what I'm saying. I think
And
that's
you
where the
can't-
issue is.
You can't ask those people who are in that
Hold
position
on.
to read betwixt the lines to find the truth for them.
I think
they're
that's
going to
where
read
the
what's on the line.
insensitivity is,
And
where-
the insensitivity
No.
is there.
Her intention of what she was trying to say.
You don't
was,
see it that way.
Was
We're
probably
never gonna
was probably
agree. We're never going to agree, but I think
Let
she's hella
me
insensitive.
just
I
interject
think
here, right?
people are too
When
sensitive.
when you're talking, yeah, right, generally, yeah, right, you have to think about everyone inclusive. That's what you're saying. She should have thought about the people who went through the maddest trauma. I'm not going to be thinking that if I'm speaking on a podcast. I'm not going to be thinking about,
Well, I
there's-
feel like that.
well, you don't, because the stuff you say on here and the way you
I
explode.
generally go
Don't
from
lie
one
on here,
extreme.
bro. Don't
I
lie.
generally go-
Listen,
if you
don't
let me
lie on the
finish.
podcast.
If you let me finish.
Get me? We don't
I
want the liars
generally
on
go
here.
from one extreme to the other extreme. So I'll think worst case scenario and best case scenario. That's how I. That's
So what about the
exactly
people
how
in the
I work.
middle? So what
That's
about the people in the middle?
Bro,
They're feeling neglected by you because you're not taking them into
Great.
consideration.
happy.
Mizzle's got a
But
point.
of
in
course
terms
I have. He's talking
You're
nonsense
asking her
in that
to think.
respect.
They're talking
No,
about
because
achieving goals.
because you know why I don't. Do you know why I don't think about
Go
the
on,
middle?
go on.
You
Because
see it now? I know you're
90%.
seeing it now.
Do you know why? Because 90% of the time, mans are already in the middle and they're not considering the worst case and best case.
Right.
So I will go worst case, best
That
case,
is an
because mans
assumption,
are
though.
in the. No, that's not an assumption. That's a fact.
is, it's
based on
something.
conversations we've had historically.
Name the conversation.
in
Name
this-
the conversation then.
in this
Name the
forum.
conversation. We
What
was in the
I'm
middle.
In this forum.
You're picking at Molly, or the reason why you all right. So the reason why you
I'm not
disagree.
picking at Molly.
Okay.
I
How's
just
that?
disagree with
Yeah,
her
you
statement.
disagree with the statement because she's not being inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
So-
well
so-
within
You know
my
what? You know
rights to say that.
he's gonna start preaching them letters soon. You know.
Inclusive like that. Listen. Put it into context.
Put what
It's
into
good.
context?
She's having a conversation about business and success with
Goals.
a guy
And I
who's
can
successful.
still highlight.
They're talking.
If I hear something insensitive within that, I can still highlight it. Why is it so? You're saying that we're
man's
so
living in this
sensitive to
new world,
highlight,
bruv.
bro. You're saying we're sensitive, or society's sensitive to highlight things. Why can't I not highlight that? That's not me being sensitive.
Yes.
That's me saying, yo, maybe she could have done a little bit better there. She
Yeah.
could have been a bit more thoughtful in her processes to think that maybe this is going to be streamed by hundreds of thousands of people, and maybe not everybody is going to have the same mindset as you.
Okay.
It's very ignorant for her to think that. Yes, it is, Mizzle.
Wait, Mizzle, wait.
It's very ignorant for her to think everybody's like
Very
her.
ignorant, you know. You say,
man.
come on,
Yeah, of
man.
course it is.
Stop going to the extremes again.
So,
No,
alright,
I'm not going to extreme. That's a
Go on.
fact.
So Stephen, the guy that
Factual.
was doing a podcast, he basically wrote a post and basically says that, and this is why it's a bit more, maybe this doesn't relate to your specific gripe with it, but what a lot of people are saying about her in regards to this is that he's had many a businessmen on that podcast that have said the same thing, if not been more insensitive to those people that don't have the same privileges, and no one batted an eyelid.
But because it's her. And because she's
Because
got
it's
Love
her.
Island
So
and she's got more
So what he was implying is that people don't like successful women, is what he's implying.
not-
No, I know that's not your personal gripe. I'm just saying in general what social media is kicking off about, in relation to this, because there's many men that are even worse insensitive. We listen to rappers and the bull they're talking about with the Benz and the whatever. Even though they came from and know people and the hood that came from. They're so insensitive to that, but guess what? You're still bumping it. You know, and you don't turn around and turn insensitive to them.
Okay, so
even though they know more than Molly, what the going on in the hood, how bad it is, what people go through, but yet they're still insensitive, showing blinging this, that, and the other. Don't talk about where they come from, but you're still bumping it.
Okay, but
why am I attacking? Okay, I feel like what you've done is you've taken it totally out of context.
No, we haven't. I just gave you a separate scenario.
No, you really have. No, you
Go on,
really
then.
have.
Let's hear.
Based on the fact that we're talking about, this is a topic on a podcast where we're discussing. So therefore, we're analysing the text. Just like you would do in an exam.
And I analyse the rap song.
But we're not analysing the rap song. We're
I'm
analysing
giving you
a
an
statement.
example
Hold
of
on,
why.
You can't.
But we're analysing. The reason why I'm going in on Molly is because what? We're analysing it on a fucking podcast. If it wasn't analysing it on a podcast, I wouldn't give a
Okay.
But ultimately,
let me
we've
chime
been
in.
asked
Let me
to
chime in.
analyse
Silent
it.
for
So
a
that's why I'm looking at it from this angle.
chime
Because
in.
I've been asked to analyse
Yeah,
it.
and if I ask-
if I ask you to analyse a Stormzy track,
yeah,
would you
I
still
would
have
do
the
the same. If you're asking me to analyse it, Dex, I'm going to analyse it. I'm going to look for the... Bro, Mizzle, you're talking like you're my penis. You don't know how my fucking brain works, bro. You can't sit... Nah, bro, you can't sit there and tell me you wouldn't. You don't fucking know me like that.
Listen,
What's a man going to tell me how my brain works? You ever heard anything like that in your blood clot life?
course
And,
yes.
and next man's telling you, Dex, no, your brain don't work so.
Yeah.
What a blood clot?
Technically, I think he's known you quite a long time.
Nah, he doesn't. Nobody blood clot knows me like that. I'm a big blood clot, man. You get what I'm saying?
you feel like you need to shout to get that point across.
Nah, it's just the fact that I hate when a man tries to tell me. I hate when a man tries to tell me that he knows me better than I know my himself.
I never said
Bro,
that.
you told me, sat there and you said to me, bro, no, you ain't thinking. You can't tell me what I'm thinking, bro.
You ain't thinking. But listen, right,
Don't
maybe.
worry, man. Let's see what Mizzle's got to say.
Nah,
Go on, Mizzle.
that's not Mizzle. It's Mizzle. Matty.
It's full of shit, man. You my head in.
Hopefully we get a couple of
You
likes
my
for
head
that.
in, telling me I don't know my fucking self. I can't take people telling me I don't know myself. I've known myself for 38 blood clot years. So you can't tell me how I think. You don't know how I think in the intricate moments in my life. You can't sit there and tell me I don't think like that. Just because you don't think on them levels, don't mean I don't think on them levels, bro.
You hear that, Mizzle?
You know,
Bro,
that's my bag.
listen, though, right?
Nah,
Before
man, I
you
ain't
run
listening
out,
to you, man. You full man.
bro, don't
Nah,
stop
I
being
ain't
a kid.
listening to you. That's getting on my nerves, bro.
All right, then.
You full of shit. Telling a man he doesn't know himself.
I never.
Do you think
The
you are?
worst thing is, I never said that once. But yeah, come on. Listen, right,
Go on,
for the
Mizzle.
viewers, yeah,
You
right.
walk it out. So
Yeah, that's cool, man. We need to get a fresh and fit cam on him. Yeah, man. But listen. What I was saying here, right, is you took it to an extreme, right?
What did I
Hold
say?
on,
Did I
hold
not
on,
say I
hold
go
on.
from one
Hold.
extreme to the next? If I've already told you that, are you going to sit there and tell me now you go to one? I told you that.
All
Okay,
right, go on.
so listen. Right, and I've never seen this guy on this inclusivity that everyone's feelings has to be taken into consideration when you speak about anything. So that's what he's basically said about this girl. She should have considered absolutely every person on the spectrum
I don't
before
agree
she
with
spoke.
That. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that's what he's meant. What he's saying.
Of course
However,
he is. That's what he just
right,
said.
right. So my
Did I
point.
say those words?
He just,
My-
he
Did I
just,
say those
No, no,
words?
my
did I
point.
say I know you
My-
better than you know
my-
yourself?
my point
Did
is,
I say,
right.
What I said when I
did,
didn't
did
say
I
that.
say you know better than your own self?
Yeah, man.
No, I
you know
never.
me, man.
My
Mizu-
point is-
Mizu can speak on behalf of me.
Come
Whatever
on,
Mizu
come
says.
on.
You hear that? I
He knows
can
me
speak
better
on
than I
his
know my
behalf.
myself.
From here on in, speak on his behalf.
My point, right. As I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily.